Yeah, I mean, because a lot rides on 2025. I mean, it's a prove it year for everybody in the program. And one guy won't be a part of that. We'll discuss him coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. The Oklahoma Sooners lost a linebacker to the transfer portal. One Lewis Carter, 4-star prospect coming out of high school from Tampa Catholic. Dude, I love that dude's game. I think he's going to be a big-time player, and I was really bummed to see him go. He had something like 34 Power 4 offers, and he was the number 11 linebacker in the class.
Yeah, he's really good. Like, he has the potential is there, and it's very high. The big thing with Lewis Carter too is like you can tell he's a gym rat. Like, he lifts like heavy weights. I think Jaren Kanak said it like last year. He joked that he asked for weights for like his second birthday or something like that, just as a joke about how much Lewis Carter can lift. He's like, yeah, that dude's probably he was eating weights at 4 and 5 years old. And so when you got to see him go out there and hit some folks, you're like, ooh, stars. It's like exciting. So you're like, yeah. And Brent Venables raved about him. Like, Brent Venables even said that he felt like he was the best player out of the state of Florida when he got him in the 23 class. And I'm like, okay, let's see what he can do that. And he hasn't played a lot. I mean, he played 30 snaps in the bowl game, and it was okay. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. So I don't feel like you got the full Lewis Carter experience, but it sounds like last year he was toying with going into the portal and getting closer to home. And so it sounds like that may be what it is. I could totally see him ending up at like a UCF or something. I mean, or if he really liked Zac Alley, he may follow him to West Virginia.
I mean, he had offers from all over the place. All the
everybody wanted
schools. Like, he could be at Miami, he could be at Florida, he could be at Florida State. Like, he's going to have his choice of landing spots. I mean, he played a bunch in the Tennessee game, and he was great in the Tennessee game. Had 5 tackles, 5 stops, according to Pro Football Focus. I thought he was really, really good, and is just one of those players that has an upward trajectory because of his elite athleticism and just his physicality and speed.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a bummer to the depth that Oklahoma had at linebacker. You still sit pretty well with Kobe McKenzie and Kip Lewis projected to start for you next year. Samuel Omasigo, probably your starting cheetah. And then Jaren Kanak, I mean, he's going to be going into his 4th year with the Sooners and 4th year under Brent Venables. He's going to be a guy that's going to be able to float around and play both of those inside linebacker spots. So you feel good at least about that group. Now you got to bring along James Nesta. You got to develop him because you're going to need that 5th linebacker, or you got to find somebody out of the transfer portal to fill Lewis Carter's spot. It's going to be fascinating to see what they do there. You're going to have another wave of transfer portal entries and transfer portal pursuits, not just now, but in the spring. So it'll be fascinating to see where Oklahoma goes with that, because I think they need that depth. They've shown that they want to play 5-6 guys at those 3 linebacker spots, including Cheetah. What'd you make of the tight end addition that they made over the weekend and Will Huggins?
Yeah, Will Huggins was an interesting one. Former player at Kansas, transferred out there, went to Pittsburgh State. So, kind of went a little bit smaller because things didn't work out. He scored a touchdown on us in 2020, which I thought was interesting. When I saw the score, I mean, we were really blowing him out. It was like 62-3 or something like that. But he ended up scoring a touchdown against Oklahoma. So, he's got a little skin in the game against us. And I think it's funny because that's a former P4 player that went down a level in order to really get some more game. And the question is, how much are people freaking out about him coming in? It's like, okay, he was recruited P4. Yeah, I do know that.
Keontae
right?
Lewis. It's like the Keontae Lewis recruitment.
Yeah. He was a P4 player, just didn't work out, went and got some reps, got some production, and now he's back up. So, but I like him. I like the potential we have with him. I'm truly questioning how much Ben Arbuckle's going to use tight ends this season. Now, I know that we'll probably use them enough to get runs off, maybe some in the pass game, but man, I'm ready to see what Von Mitchell's going to put together. Hopefully he's getting his life together, and he put out a tweet, which I appreciate, him calling himself out and saying, I need to work on some things, and that's the reason why I haven't been playing. It hasn't been Coach Joe John Finley or Brent Venables or even, anybody else on the offensive staff keeping me from playing. It's myself. I'm like, I like that. But now I need to see you go out there and actually play. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious about how much we actually use them. What did you think about that pickup? I don't think it was a bad pickup, but it's earth-shattering.
It's a solid depth piece.
Yeah.
You hope he doesn't play. You hope that Caden Helms and Devon Mitchell and Cade McIntyre are your top 3 tight ends, and that neither him or Carson Kent play for you at all. Like, that's kind of where I come from. But it gives you some, a veteran with some security, and gives you a guy that can play on special teams. You have a veteran presence. Will he play much? We'll see. Will he be able to replicate what he did at Pittsburgh State in the SEC? We'll see. He's got good size and he's got experience. That's really all I can say about him. Will he be good for Oklahoma? Who the heck knows? Nobody really knows. Well, how much will he even play? I don't even know. That's the thing. That's where some of these, like the Cole Gonzalez edition, like people are crapping on me on social media because I just shared statistics of the dude's 2024 season and 2023 season in Western Carolina. And people are like, he's never going to play. Season. Okay, he's never going to play. But these are still relevant. Okay. Yeah. How much Will Huggins plays? Your guess is as good as mine. Hopefully he never plays, because Devon Mitchell and Caden Helms are your top 2 tight ends. And I think you're right. I think Ben Arbuckle is going to use a lot more 4 and 5 wide receiver sets that minimize the tight ends usage, because they want to spread some things out a little bit more. And I don't think it's a bad plan. I think you spread things out even when you want to run the ball. If you're running 4 wide and you're taking guys out of the box and you've got Xavier Robinson coming downhill, I like those odds. I like Xavier Robinson's ability to make some guys miss between the tackles or run somebody over between the tackles and have one less defender that he has to worry about inside the box.
Yeah, no, I agree. And having some that can block is going to be important. That's the one thing I need to look at the grades and see if Huggins is solid at blocking, because we need blockers. That's going to be important. We need tight ends that can handle a block. Hopefully Ben doesn't think about sending any tight ends to block edges, especially when we play against South Carolina. But, all I got to say is I'm hoping that the blocking is better.
Yeah, I mean, that had to be the first question asked by Brent Venables. So tell me your philosophy on how to block edges. Because if you say tight ends, the interview's over. We're done. Yeah, but it's going to be fascinating. I mean, again, Oklahoma's not going to be done in the transfer portal. Brent Venables said after the loss to Navy that they plan to add more guys on the offensive side of the ball. They felt pretty solidified on defense. We'll see what changes or turnover happens on defense now that Zac Alley's left. Are there going to be guys that follow him? Are there going to be guys that decide to jump because, hey, maybe we didn't get as much opportunity as we thought we were going to get? We'll see, but you're going to start seeing more and more transfer portal additions in the coming weeks. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in and being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay on Twitter at Unfair Sports. You can follow me at John9Williams. Check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. Boomer Sooner.